on social media, and she's one of the top trending divas within the division. And when it comes to promoting the Divas division on social media, she's always there to do it. And she's always there to promote something going on with the WWE. So if there was ever a face that should be affiliated with the Divas Championship who should ever have the title put on her, probably it is AJ, especially with how long she's been in the WWE now. It's been over almost 4 years since AJ debuted in the WWE as part of NXT Season 3. She finished within the top 3, and since then she has been nothing but impressive. And since her return and winning the title for the second time, which I anticipated she would do, she has been nothing but impressive, and wrestling fans have something probable to talk about finally for the first time in what feels like forever for women's wrestling and the Divas division. So if you want something to talk about when it comes to women's wrestling and you're tired of talking about the same old thing happening in the TNA Knockouts division or with the women of Ring of Honor, why not start talking about the Divas division? Because we have an incredible amount of talent, such a phenomenal array of talent in the Divas division, from Summer Rae to the Funkadactyls, who have now gone their separate ways, to Paige, to Charlotte, to Bayley when you talk about NXT Divas, to AJ, who's on top of the Divas division. And really, the most accurate assumption that was ever made about the Divas division is that AJ does not need the Divas division as much as the Divas division needs AJ. If you can make sense and wrap your mind around that assumption, I think it's one of the most accurate things that have ever been said about the Divas division and women's wrestling, because AJ does not need the Divas division. She can be an on-screen character as a manager, as a valet, as just a general manager, and she can be just as effective as if she were a wrestler in the Divas division. She does not need the Divas division to be getting over. The Divas Championship and the Divas division needs her more than she actually needs the division. Most of the time, a diva will need the division to get over and need to start wrestling to create a presentation and a character for themselves, really a perception. But I don't think AJ needs a perception. She doesn't really need an image. She can be crazy. She can be normal. She can have a bit of normality affiliated with her character. She can not even have anything to do with the Divas division, and she's just as popular. Remember that bit of a reprieve that AJ took from the Divas division for a number of months, and she wasn't wrestling. She was just used as an on-screen character, either as a valet, a manager, or a general manager, and she was just as just as fun to watch. She was just as unpredictable to watch as a general manager. She didn't need to be wrestling, but I was really thrilled when she started wrestling by mid-2013 last year, and she was put up for the title against Caitlyn, who was a great Divas champion, but I found that AJ was a far more impressive representative as a champion. And not taking anything away from Caitlyn's athletic ability, I mean, Caitlyn has been very impressive in the earlier years of her career. I just wish she was just as impressive now in 2014 and years to come as she was in the earlier years of her career. It seemed when she won NXT, that was when her momentum was at an all-time high, and that was when she was performing at her best. And ever since she lost the Divas Championship, and it's been all about AJ, we haven't heard much from Caitlyn in the way of development or anything big happening with her character. We still see her in a scattered promo for WWE on a live show, but with the exception of losing the title to AJ, that was really the biggest thing that happened for her character. But the thing about Caitlyn and AJ's matches were they really elevated the Divas division to unprecedented heights, and I really look forward to seeing these series of matches between AJ and Caitlyn, which of course started happening by Payback of last year. AJ won her first title on June 16th, Father's Day of last year, and held it for over 295 days, and within her reign, she defended it against some of the top names in the division, the Funkadactyls, the Bella Twins, Natalya. Everybody got an opportunity in there to work with AJ. She also wrestled on editions of Main Event and WWE's Saturday Morning Slam, which was great too for her. That gave her even more exposure as opposed to just appearing on Raw and SmackDown as the Divas champion. And they were non-title matches, a mixture of non-title and actual championship matches were done just for WWE television programs like Main Event and Saturday Morning Slam, which was cool for her as part of I believe it was on CW or something. So it's awesome that AJ was able to wrestle as much as she did as Divas champion, and she was probably one of the most promoted champions that WWE had, and probably one of the most promoted Divas champions of all time, at least over the last 15 to 20 years, if not all time. And one argument that I think can be raised about AJ is that arguably I think AJ is one of the top 5 greatest Divas champions of all time, if not the greatest Divas champion of all time. I really believe that she is as good as what she professes to be, if not the greatest Divas champion of all time, certainly one of the top 5. I mean, we have had very few phenomenal Divas champions over the years, even though we've had an incredible amount of history affiliated with the Divas Championship, we really haven't had that many great Divas champions, and I think she's one of the exceptional few that has the total package and can really go the distance. And she's someone who you can easily get 10 or 15 years out of. Now, this reign of AJ, I don't see it lasting as long as her previous reign as Divas Champion. I mean, she had 295 days in as Divas Champion, and she lost it the night after WrestleMania 30. She lost it on a very appropriate date, in my opinion. You couldn't have took the title off her more effectively than what you did the night after WrestleMania 30. You gave her the win at WrestleMania 30, which I had a tremendous amount of respect for because she had 13 challengers going for her championship the night prior to losing the title at WrestleMania 30, and she won the match by pinfall. She survived the one chance she had of winning against 13 challengers and her defending the championship. And then Paige came out and said that she came out to congratulate AJ. That was a phenomenal way. An impromptu match was set up on Monday Night Raw. That was a phenomenal way to lead up to Paige's debut. Nobody thought it was going to happen. Everybody knew that an NXT Diva was going to be making her debut the night after WrestleMania 30, but nobody knew it was going to be Paige, and it was going to be set up the way that it was. So I had a phenomenal amount of respect for how they did that, and they took the title eventually off AJ, and I have even more respect now for AJ after she's come back and won the title after Money in the Bank. She came back, surprised us all, one of three major returns like The Miz and Chris Jericho on the same night to come back and win the Divas Championship. And out of the three returns that we saw that night of Chris Jericho, The Miz, and AJ, she was the biggest because out of Chris Jericho and The Miz's returns, what separated the returns of The Miz and Chris Jericho from AJ's was that AJ actually won a championship. We didn't see Chris Jericho return and immediately win the Intercontinental or United States Championship, nor did we get it from The Miz, but we did get it from AJ. So how can you not have a phenomenal amount of respect for someone like AJ, someone who has gone the distance and proven herself more than once to be on top of the Divas division? And right now, when you really sit back and put it into perspective, there's really nobody within the WWE Divas division in a position right now to knock AJ off of her pedestal. She has got to be extremely proud of everything that she's done. She's returned probably bigger than any other talent that's recently returned, like The Miz and Chris Jericho, and she is in far better shape and far better conditioned than what she ever was from her previous reign. She looks bigger, she looks faster, she looks stronger, she looks like she's come back with a total package, and there's really no reason why you can't put her on top and keep her on top for probably half as long, if anything, half as long as what she previously was Divas Champion, or even longer than what she was Divas Champion. She has reclaimed her position on top of the Divas division, and I think congratulations need to be offered to someone like AJ. Now, I've been preaching, really, about AJ. I haven't been talking about AJ on this radio show. I've been preaching about AJ for the past year and a half. I started running columns about AJ and Caitlyn together for In This Corner with Jonathan Clarke and posting video blogs on this YouTube channel. I've been doing it on and off again, and I'm back to talking about AJ again because she recently won the Divas Championship, and I previously talked about her probably about 3 weeks ago here on this show, but I will be archiving this video because I think it's one of the best ones I've done on AJ in a while. I'll be throwing it up on our YouTube channel, and I want your comments on AJ's second reign as Divas Champion and what you think it's going to amount to. What do you think it's going to come to for the girl from New Jersey? Something interesting about one of AJ's recent promos was that she said she came from New Jersey, came from nothing, and came from nothing to becoming the greatest Divas Champion and female wrestler of all time. She even went as far as to say she was going to surpass CM Punk's 434-day reign as WWE Champion. And I think that the two reigns of AJ and CM Punk are far beyond comparison because Punk's reign as WWE Champion is something certainly unparalleled to anything that AJ's ever done. But it's pretty cool how she actually wanted to hold the championship longer than what CM Punk had, and that was pretty cool because AJ and Punk are engaged to be married. A couple of months ago, they went public with that after AJ left the WWE. Shortly in those 2 months that she was gone and absent from in-ring action, she announced along with Punk that they had been engaged, and I posted that on our Facebook page at HEW Entertainment. I found that kind of cool, how Punk and AJ, WWE Divas Champion and former WWE Champion CM Punk, were engaged. Two of the longest reigns in the history of WWE and how they simultaneously kind of fit together. That was kind of really cool. We have no announcement on when AJ and Punk are going to be married, but that's pretty awesome how they had the two champions, announce their engagement on ProWrestling.com's newsfeed. So I posted that on our newsfeed on our Facebook page for you to check out. Really excited, all in all, to see where they're going to be taking AJ and what they're going to be doing with her character within, I'll say, the next 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months. Always been a big fan of AJ. I always gave her the benefit of the doubt. She had her critics out there. That was the thing about AJ. A lot of people talk good about her, but more people than I wish did talk bad about her and really criticized her. There's just something about wrestling fans out there who love to criticize people like AJ. And here's the thing about AJ. AJ is someone who can go the distance and who you can very easily find yourself giving the benefit of the doubt too. And I very quickly started giving AJ the benefit of the doubt. You know, her pro on NXT Season 3, she didn't come in with the, most impressive package deal for NXT Season 3. Her pro, for fuck's sake, was Primo, and she came in with just a cool, laid-back kind of image. She kind of resembled, to me, Christy Hemme, when Christy Hemme won the very first Diva search in '04, and she was with WWE from '04 to '06 or something like that. She kind of resembled the same kind of presentation that Christy Hemme had, and to me, when I first got a glimpse of AJ, I said, okay, this is the replacement for their loss of Christy Hemme to TNA Wrestling. To me, she was the knockoff of Christy Hemme, WWE's version of insulting Christy Hemme, but she proved me wrong with my assumption, because her character from Christy Hemme's character are two completely different perceptions of what a wrestling diva should be, and I think that AJ has the far more impressive deal going for her than Christy Hemme ever did for TNA Wrestling. I mean, what is Christy Hemme doing now? She has a scattered on and off again gimmick for TNA Wrestling, does a scattered backstage interview, and does ring announcing for TNA Impact Wrestling on Thursday nights and pay-per-views. That's all Christy Hemme has amounted to in professional wrestling, a ring announcer. She went from a ring competitor in WWE to a ring announcer in TNA Wrestling after her wrestling career in TNA Wrestling didn't go the way that TNA management wanted it to, or Christy Hemme herself wanted it to. So when you compare the two, AJ and Christy, AJ has a far more impressive gimmick than Christy Hemme ever has, so I kind of have to correct myself on comparing her to Christy Hemme like I was weeks after AJ debuted on NXT Season 3. And if you haven't seen any of AJ's NXT work, there's a reason why AJ is on top of the WWE Divas division, and NXT is a perfect example I can throw your way. All you got to do is go to YouTube. We have thrown up a lot of the NXT matches featuring AJ on our Facebook page, but all you have to do is go to YouTube and pull some of these matches up. I promise you, you will be impressed with what AJ had to offer on NXT, and that will prove to you why AJ is now a two-time WWE Divas champion, and she's feuding with a new talent. It used to be kind of like how Natalya and other WWE superstars like Beth Phoenix were benefiting AJ and Caitlyn when they first debuted. It's kind of cool how AJ now is returning the favor and helping out someone like Paige, who's just 21 years of age, who has already been Divas champion, but not as long as what she probably wanted to be Divas champion. It's really awesome when you see people like AJ returning the favor, like Natalya and Beth Phoenix did for AJ and Caitlyn when they were a team on SmackDown. Originally, AJ and Caitlyn debuted on SmackDown